Happy Friday. All right, now we can start.
We've heard it said in the past, coaches lament putting too much into the game plan, like week one. Like, is that a real thing? Is that something?
We don't. All three coordinators, it's tight.
How is Dante doing?
Good. He'll be out there today.
With the outside linebackers, I know it's a big, heavy rotation between a lot of the guys. When you bring in a guy like Josh Sweat, who's so used to playing first, second, third down, do you keep him out there a little bit more, or do you just try to slide him into that rotation?
Yeah, we kind of have a set, kind of a range for each of our guys, everybody on defense. But you don't know how the game's going to kick out, so I'm sure there'll be a little bit of, I don't want to say learning curve, but sometimes whatever his range is, it might kick out a little higher, maybe kicks out a little bit lower. But feel good with all the packages, who's in on all those things, who's backing up all those spots, this and that. But he'll get his fair share.
So when you're going through rotations like that, do the players have a good idea of how that might be? If something changes up, does that go through the position coach where he says, hey, on this play we're going to switch it up a little bit?
It's myself with all the coordinators with all the staff, and then the position coach with the players. But that's you're not with that exercise. You're really not talking about role. You're talking about, hey, this is how I kind of see the game kicking out. But know that can change in a blink.
You have your expectations and your standards for everybody. Do you temper those a little bit for rookies in week one because it's their first real NFL game?
No. Standards and expectations of how I want us to operate, certain decisions that they have to make, what's acceptable and what's not is really not tempered. I know guys are going to make mistakes; those you can live with, but certain things, no.
JT Cabutti was telling us yesterday that he had Will come sit next to him in meeting rooms, and that's going to be his seat for the rest of the year. Just how beneficial can that be for someone like Will to?
Yeah, I mean, Buddha's seen a lot, he's played a lot of ball, he's a really good player, so good, and he's smart, so he knows all the whys behind everything that we do. He's like another coach, so that's all our meeting rooms, but I tell the coaches that's a very interactive meeting room anyhow. So if you're not ready to go when you walk in that meeting, you're going to get picked on pretty quick, and probably rookies even more so. So he probably falls into that.
What are the most important things you'll be looking for from Kyler on Sunday?
Play ball, make plays for us, take care of the football, be who he is.
When will you guys finalize the 48 that are going to be dressed on game day? And is this the most difficult or easiest time of year to do this?
What do you mean difficult and easy, Bo?
It's just whittling it down and knowing who's going to be available and what roles.
Yeah, we kind of have a set plan. In the beginning of the week, we sit down, kind of do that, and then we'll sit down, tomorrow morning before we leave and make sure we're on point with some contingency plans, because there's been times where you kind of finalize it and it can change. So you typically don't want to be in that spot, but it does happen. So you got to have plan B, plan C, plan D, but feel good about what we're doing this week.
Do you tell guys early in the week if they're down this week?
No, I tell them on Saturdays.
On Sunday?
Saturdays.
Kamara obviously has a ton of rushing yards and receiving yards. How multiple do they use him and deploy him?
Well, we're going to find out. I don't know. That's an unknown. So we better have a plan for him, though, because he's a really good player. I got a high opinion. I told the team in the team meeting, in my opinion, you can count on half of one hand what he can do that other people in the world can't. So he's a really good player. He's a premier player. Every time he touches it, he can hit home runs, whether it be run or pass game. And I'm sure Kellen will deploy him where he's trying to find matchups. So we got to do a good job on him. He's a tough player to defend.
You guys were third in the league last year in explosive rushing plays, like 25th in explosive passing plays. Do you want to balance here, or is it okay for it to be skewed a little bit?
Whatever you need to do to win the game. But I do think we need to increase our explosives in the pass game, score more points.
With the breakdown at running back, or when you have presumably someone, or even share this year, is that something that you know going into a game, or does it kind of depend based on how the game is going?
Kind of Zach's point, you kind of have a plan, but that can kind of, you got to give yourself some wiggle room there because you don't know how the game's going to kick out, so feel good with where we sit right now, feel good who's going to be in the game. And with that position, who's touching the football, who's protecting, who's going to, be out in route concepts, all those things. But like where it's at, but you might have to be willing to adapt that too.
In games you did have Jonah Williams at right tackle, what did he give you and what did he do for the offensive line overall?
Typically kept the quarterback clean and doesn't make mistakes.
You talk so much about getting into the final 48 hours before a game and things kind of ramping up from there. What changes for you, like mentality-wise?
48-hour prep? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah. I tell them, there's, we kind of have those 5 buckets. 4 of them are really present in 48 hours, and then they kind of dwindles a little bit more. Your brain, you better work on your brain 48 hours before. You got to always be working on it. They're always present. I do think you can gain an advantage with how you prep your mind 48 hours before the game, 24 hours before the game, even leading up till kickoff, so they're trained for that. And everyone has their own process with that.
Like watching film and more film in those 48 hours?
All different. They're all different. All the players are different. Some guys, I tell them, shut it off. Seriously. Yeah, they start to some guys, not all. Certain guys are watching film when we go in from warm-ups to when we go back out. That's their process that gets them ready to go. Other guys, I think, if they watch too much, they start to get anxious.
Some of you guys this week are repeating your phrase like to know it a lot this week, especially. Just
Okay.
curious, where did you come up with that?
Know it. Teacher at NYU.
We talk a lot about focusing on what you guys have to do specifically. How do you balance that with worrying about what you can control while also game planning for another team and what they may or may not do?
Say that again, Donnie.
So you focus a lot on, let's worry about us. Let's not worry about anything else. Let's do what we need to do. But what's that balance like when you're game planning for another team?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think as a coaching staff, now we'll find out when we're measured on Sunday. You kind of have to, make that decision early in the week, and then go from there. And why I say we'll find out on Sunday afternoon is, did it work or not? So a lot of different ways you can do it. I think the most part for us is making sure that we can control, because we know there's things that we can't control, and then adapt and react to those. But obviously week 1, everybody goes through it. There's an element of unknown with every team, with, how they're going to use Kamara. I don't know. I have an idea, but I don't know. You know what I mean? So, okay, here's kind of our plan, and then we might have to get to a couple of these things, So it's just an element of adaptation in game. But I think the best avenue for us going into kickoff is making sure we do a good job with alignment assignment, key technique, our mode of play, us realizing the value of the ball, the non-negotiables that we have, not breaking those, making sure we understand the situations that we're in, and playing good, clean football.
All the work that you guys put in as a staff all week, are there ever times where you're just on the sideline like, we weren't expecting that, like actually surprised?
Every game.
Does that happen a lot?
Every game. Yeah. Talk to any coach, always.